pledge allegiance to you.
Let's call this meeting of the County Area School Board to order. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Roll call, please.
Mike Bauer.
Present.
Jared Clement. Here. Chris Ravitch.
Here.
Paul Thomasville.
Here.
Nicole Jones. Here. Cindy Anderson Johnson. Mark Fisher.
Present. We have any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
I'd like to remove item G from the consent agenda.
We have a motion to move item G, the second reading of the middle school, high school dress code. And we have support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G is removed from the consent agenda. Need approval of the agenda? A motion?
Support.
Have motion and support for the consent agenda. Get a roll call vote. I'm sorry.
Here, I got it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Community comments. Anybody like to address any of the items that are on the agenda? Again, please state your name.
I'm going to read what I had prior to item G being removed, just so we have some comments. My name is Jeremy Valley. I have kids at both the high school and middle school. Commenting on the agenda item for the revised student dress code policy. I have met with the superintendent and separately with the high school principal. I've been told to express my concerns to the board. That's what I'm doing now. Request that the board table that second reading of the student dress code policy, which you've just done, and thank you. I'd really like to see you direct administration to notify the parents of the next committee meeting, give them at least 2 weeks in advance, include the agenda and policy changes for that meeting. Send that by email, by family access, and any other appropriate means available to the district. I offer my services, my help, my time to volunteer to help with any aspect of that process. As a parent, there has been no communication from the school to indicate a committee meeting would be taking place. Parents were not afforded the reasonable opportunity to be aware of the meeting or the agenda or to be involved. There were 0 parents at that dress code policy committee meeting on 11/4, according to the superintendent. How could there be if nobody knew the meeting was taking place? Administration has indicated they are adopting the no coat policy for student safety and to align with the policies of neighboring districts. While those reasons are not untrue, based on my communications with the administration, the district's emergency manager, and other districts, there seems to be a substantial lack of transparency. Of the 9 nearest school districts, 5 do not have a policy prohibiting coats and jackets. Enforcement of that policy for those other districts that do is limited. That's 25,000 kids, and less than 16% are affected by such a policy. Administration has stated this is about student safety, that their contracted emergency manager recommended the policy. I spoke with the emergency manager by phone to discuss this. I have no doubt that the administration does or will soon have recommendations in writing from their emergency manager. However, there's a big difference between an unsolicited recommendation and a solicited recommendation. And I believe that administration appears to be soliciting recommendations to justify their policy changes, and my problem with that is those choices were made without parent involvement. It encourages bullying through body shaming and preventing students from dressing in a reasonable manner that makes them comfortable. This applies to male and female and those with a differing gender identity. It applies to those that are overweight, those that are underweight, those that are well endowed up top, and those that are not, and many more. Our students need us to support their choices that fall within reasonable guidelines and provides them with confidence they need to succeed. This policy creates fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the student body by making them question if their choice of a hoodie sweatshirt qualifies as a coat because it has a full-length zipper on the front. It's especially important if the administration continues to refuse to define what types of apparel qualify as a coat or a jacket. It creates animosity between students and staff. As staff are allowed to wear coats and jackets, including sports coats, while students are punished for doing so. Board policy requires all staff to adhere to the same dress code. It hinders school spirit and pride by banning students from wearing varsity coats, band uniforms, and school-provided windbreakers. Those are all coats or jackets. The administration creates an exception for these. They're now saying that if the student wants preferential treatment, they have to be in those activities. It shames and intimidates students that have medical conditions requiring them to wear coats or jackets. Students who are punished for wearing a jacket will demand the other jacket wear student be similarly punished, only to learn that the administrative approval has been granted to that other kid because of their condition. Thank you for hearing my concerns, for ensuring that board policy is not only followed, but the spirit and intent of that policy is a major consideration in the actions taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Anybody else like to address the board in regards to any of the agenda items? Would like to reply briefly to that. And we made some comments as far as there weren't postings and parents weren't invited. And since you sent the email to us, I had Mr. View check into a few things. We do have letters from Chief Spencer, and also from Thomas Minesburg. And that was thought beforehand. Regardless, it's still the recommendation. We also did post, I have a copy where we posted the meeting on October 29th, and that meeting was for November 4th. So still posted within standard time. So other neighboring districts were checked. Some of them have the policy, they choose not to enforce it. So again, that's their discretion, but they do have it. I just kind of want to get that on the record as far as what our staff is doing and how we're reaching out. We appreciate your input, like I responded to your email. We appreciate everybody coming out and helping us do our job and do it better, take care of the kids. Safety is definitely our main concern, but with your passion and some of the points you made, obviously this board is going to, we table it and we'll look at it later, but we'll have another meeting and we'll make sure we try to get that 2 or 3 weeks out and try to get everybody more notification, okay? But I appreciate you coming out and sharing your thoughts with us. Anybody else? All right. Diploma presentation, Mr. Mead.
Mr. Furman, would you like to take over? We have Mr. Furman's in charge of our diploma program. It's another program that we run that we try to allow students to get their diploma through a non-traditional way. And Michael Stevens today is a great example of that. So Mr. Furman, would you like to talk to our new graduate?
I will. Michael, we just wanted to address everyone in the board, talk to you a little bit about Michael and the work that he's put into this diploma over the last several years. It really does say something about him as a student, because you really need to be self-directed in this program. The drive and the ambition to finish and accomplish what he's accomplished. Not only that, from his family, our staff, especially Ms. Lazaro, Mr. Woodruff, who really put in a lot of time and effort to make sure that he's finished this in a timely manner. So without further ado, Michael James Stevens, I'd like to congratulate you as a graduate of Pinconning High School. You may move your tassel to the other side.
And this is your official transcript.
Congratulations.
Good job, thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Spartan Spotlight.
So athletics had Spartan Spotlight for the month of November, and the athletic department would like to recognize Tanya Bain. Come on up, Tanya. Tanya's been a pleasure to work with this fall. During the fall season, she is willing to offer her assistance in any capacity. Tanya can be found volunteering at the gate, officiating lines for the volleyball tournaments, always lending a hand with even event cleanup, and I appreciate her and all of her positive energy that she gives out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda and pay bills totaling $696,482.48.
Support.
A motion with support on consent agenda. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mike Bauer.
Yes.
Nicole Jones. Yes. Chris Rabish.
Yes.
Paul Palmerville.
Yes.
Jerry Clement. Yes. Linda Anderson, yes. Mark Kuchar.
Yes. Motion passes. Communication, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Kuchar. Again, I'd like to congratulate Michael. I know he's put the work in, and his family's been there to support him, so congratulations again. Mount Forest driveway, went out to Mount Forest, the dirt's moving, they have the pipe in, I talked to Mr. Johnson. We're hopefully getting that project done so we can get to that property next spring. We had a little bit of a, it took a little longer to get the permit, as I had given you updates. But one of the things we want to do out at Mount Forest is, as Mr. Pemberthy described, kind of make it an outdoor classroom, make it an ability for students to go out there and explore science, do things like that. It's really a nice piece of property, and he's got some good ideas on expanding that with another grant. But even in its infancy, we can run cross-country meets out there. We can take classes on field trips out there. We do have a few things that need to be done, but I know some of you have been on that property, and is ironic because there was just an article in one of our, I put in my newsletter, that schools are going to more of this outdoor-based learning and that type of thing, so that'll work out good for us. So the only thing we need to do is to potentially get a little bit of asphalt once that gets completed. I think the skirt from I think they just call it a skirt, from the driveway to the road there has to be a small amount of asphalt, and Jaeger was trying to get us a price on that, so, but they can wait until spring if it gets too cold to do that. Any questions about that? All right, 2% grants on, last Friday, brought home a $94,000 check from our friends at the Saginaw Indian Chippewa tribe. It was a very good grant cycle. I think that's one of the highest amounts we've received. I believe we received, we had staff write 15 grants, or we received 15, and I believe they only denied 3 grants. So of the 18, I believe that they awarded 15. And I mentioned in my communication that one of the biggest grants was a new computer lab for Central Elementary, $28,000. Going to be some new technology there. A lot of our rooms have Chromebook cards, but having a new lab will also be nice because we rotate a lot of classes through there, and that'll be nice for them. And we did get money for the stadium bleachers, and there's all different kinds of grants, but those are some of the larger ones. A couple of Chromebook carts, new calculators for our science department in the high school, some of those scientific calculators. Those are about $10,000 for those. So again, I'm really impressed with the amount of money we had, and I think the tribe really, I think they go through those grants, and they really, we had a $140 grant to a $28,000 grant, so they're big and small. They definitely were, they like to reward, they just like the impact it has on students, so worked out good. Any questions about that, or the process we use for the grants? I mean, we've been doing it now, it's about 10 years we've been getting grants. We do definitely, we open it up to our staff. For the most part, we have to make sure our administrators are aware of what we're doing, so Jay knows what type of technology we support. But it really is, it's a process that I know that the teachers take some ownership in as well. BEP Fall Forum, I was at the Fall Forum last week, and was at Delta, and really got to see their programs, some of their STEM programs. We got to tour their facilities, really some top-notch facilities, and it's really, if you haven't been out to Delta in a while, they really have geared up toward, I mean, they've always been a hands-on vocational school, but some of their programs right now are very in demand. I mean, a lot of students can go there and either do a certificate program in welding, and I brought along Mrs. Palmerville, who's our counselor, so she could get an idea, so when kids start asking about their programs, that she has a working knowledge of those. Mr. Woodruff was there, Mr. Coughlin, Mr. Shireen, so our industrial arts teachers were kind of taking a look at it. So I thought it was a great visit and got a lot out of it. Mrs. McClavey was there as well. Any questions about that? Budget items. Told you I'd keep you updated on the district's, what is it, the small district, rural district money from the governor. That has not been secured as of yet. The line item vetoes are still in place. The rural districts, isolated district money is gonna, could be potentially a $65,000 hit to the district if she doesn't restore that budget line. So it's something we wanna continue to pressure Lansing for. I did talk to Donnie and Chris, and we mentioned that our student count at one point was at 30 students. And with our audited count, it was just around 25. So it's not a huge thing, but it's better than being more when the dust settles. So, and it was just a tad under what we predicted. So with that, is there any questions about any of those items or anything else that you might have a question about? Thank you.
Thank you. Student report, Ms. Wise.
The middle school student council, over 25 middle school student council members and their families attended a Saginaw Spirit game on Saturday, November 23rd. The students and their families were on the ice to hold the American and Canadian flags during pregame, and many student council members were also treated to a ride on the Bamboni. Student council, high school student council is in the middle of Gratitude Week, and high school students, student councils are teaming up to sponsor Gratitude Week this week. Each day will feature a different dress-up theme. Students will also be asked to send the gratitude poster on Monday. They will receive a gift from Student Council on Tuesday and will participate in gratitude card exchange on Wednesday. These events are designed to help students show gratitude for the people and things that matter most in their lives. NHS. The National Honor Society was able to purchase Thanksgiving dinner for 5 families. A total of 30 individuals from the middle school and high school shopping was made possible by a $400 donation from the Great Lakes Outdoorsman Foundation, as well as with additional funds supplied by NHS. Super Santa Saturday. Super Santa Saturday will be on December 7th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the middle school gymnasium. This is a free event open to all children in the community and will feature holiday-themed games and a visit with Santa Claus. SAE raised over $700 at their scrapbook booking event earlier this month. SAE will also be selling Christmas spells to their students in middle school and high school as a fundraiser for St. Jude's Charity. The bells will be delivered at the final days before holiday break. And 8 people have signed up for SAE's trip to Spain.
Thank you, Lydia. Mr. Furman.
Thank you. Just a couple things I want to mention. We have a district improvement meeting scheduled for December 10th down at the ISD. Mr. Rabbers, you're going to try to attend if you can, along with members of our improvement team. Also looking at December 12th, we're looking at the Linwood Christmas program. We will have the auction at 1 o'clock and the concert at 2 o'clock. And then I also want you to know that our staff is continuing to work on our corrections required. The findings from the state of Michigan on our Title I on-site review last year, and we're well on our way to erasing those findings. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, administrative staff? No?
Yeah, I mean, we just finished up our signups for the Student Improvement Committee. We had about 11 or 12 sign up. In the announcements, I said that I would take 5. So Mr. Vandrees and I are either going to do an interview to see which 5 we're going to pick for the improvement team, or we'll do like a lottery system and pick names out of a hat. That team will meet during their lunch every month. Students will bring issues to us and we'll discuss those issues in a collaborative way to help make the school a better place for them, because I mean, they're the heart and soul of this school, so hearing their voice is important, so we're moving forward with that.
Great, thank you. Any other staff? All right, thanks. Any board committees? Policy meeting or no? All right, non-consent agenda, first reading of the Neola policies.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the first reading of Neola Policies, Volume 34, Number 1 is recommended.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mike Bauer,
Yes.
Nicole Jones. Chris Rabbit. Paul Poundeville.
Yes.
Jared Clement. Yes. Linda Anderson, yes. Mark Kuchar.
Yes. Motion passes. Public comments. Anybody like to address the board on any issues? Okay, thanks for coming out. Discussion items for the board members?
I had a member of the community bring a concern to me about some of the athletics things that are going on, about coaching positions and how we post and how we select the coaches and then how things are handled. So I just wondered if you can have a community day for athletics, maybe get some input from the community and see what their thoughts are for, you know, how the programs are running, what's going on, how you're filling positions, et cetera.
So I know Mrs. Lowe will probably speak on it, but I know she just mentioned at Meet the Spartans tonight about an athletic improvement team. So putting together a group of community members, parents, and people of the community that want to get together and talk about athletics and work to improving the athletic programs, getting that parent input, something that we're really pushing. And I know Ms. Lowell's been a champion of that, so anything you can add to that, Ms. Lowell?
We did have the sign up out. I have 2 parents that signed up tonight, so we'll probably need some more interest there, but that's the start right now.
Yeah, so whether you do a messenger system or something, just.
And some have expressed interest to me, like privately, to be on that committee as well, so, yeah, definitely looking to get all the input and, that we can get, so we're moving in that direction for sure.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Support. We have a motion support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?